I moved into the building in February. That matters because February in the city is quiet in a way people don't talk about. Not peaceful, just thinner. Fewer tourists, fewer late-night conversations drifting up from the street. Sirens still screamed, but they sounded farther away, like they were happening to someone else. I needed that quiet. My last apartment had been too loud, too alive, too full of other people's routines brushing up against mine. I wanted something higher up, something that felt removed. When the leasing agent told me the only unit left in my price range was on the 13th floor, I hesitated just long enough to be embarrassed about it. She noticed. "People still get weird about the number," she said, smiling. "But it's New York. Half the buildings don't even label it." This one did. The elevator buttons jumped straight from 12 to 13, bold and unashamed. I told myself that was fine. The apartment itself looked normal, small, clean, neutral colors that felt deliberately forgettable. The kind of place you could live in for years and still struggle to describe to someone else. The windows faced another building so close I could see into someone's kitchen if they left the light on. I didn't like that, but I told myself it was temporary. Everything was temporary. The first night I slept with the heat too high and the window cracked open. I remember the sound of traffic echoing between buildings, the distant rumble of the subway under my mattress like a slow mechanical heartbeat. Nothing happened. The second night I noticed the scratching. At first I thought it was pipes. Old buildings make noises. Everyone knows that. They groan, they knock, they tick like they're thinking too hard. I'd lived in enough places to recognize that sound. This wasn't that. This was deliberate, slow, like fingernails testing a surface. It came from inside the wall behind my bed. Not constant, not rhythmic, just a brief scritch. Scritch, then silence. I sat up and waited. Nothing. I told myself it was a mouse. I told myself it was thermal expansion. I told myself a lot of things because the alternative, that something was inside the wall and aware of my presence, felt stupid. The next morning I forgot about it. Work was busy. My phone buzzed nonstop with notifications from apps I barely remembered installing. Grocery delivery reminders, transit alerts, a building-wide email about package theft in the lobby, normal city stuff. That night the scratching came back. Longer this time. Closer. It wasn't behind my bed anymore. It was above me. I lay there staring at the ceiling, counting my breaths. The sound dragged slowly across the plaster, stopping directly over where my head rested. Then it stopped. I slept anyway. That was my second mistake. The third night, the building app sent out a notification at 11:43 p.m. Building notice. Please refrain from drilling, hammering, or any loud maintenance after 10 p.m. I stared at the message. I hadn't heard any drilling. I hadn't heard voices. Just the scratching. This time it didn't stop. It traced the perimeter of the room, slow and methodical, like someone learning the shape of the space. I got out of bed and pressed my ear against the wall. The sound paused, then resumed, right where my ear was. I stepped back. My heart was pounding now, loud enough that I wondered if it could hear me. I messaged the building chat. Me. Is anyone else hearing scratching in the walls on 13? 3 dots appeared, then disappeared. No one replied. I didn't sleep. The next morning I noticed something new. A thin hairline crack had appeared in the wall behind my bed. It hadn't been there before. I was sure of it. The paint around it looked stressed, like it had been pushed from the inside. I took a picture and sent it to maintenance through the app. They replied almost immediately. Maintenance. That's normal settling. We'll take a look next week. Next week felt far away. That afternoon, I ran into my neighbor in the hallway, an older woman with tired eyes and a reusable grocery bag she held too tightly. She looked at me, then at my door, then back at me. You moved into that unit, she said. Not a question. I laughed a little too loudly. Is it haunted or something? She didn't laugh. They shouldn't rent the 13th floor anymore, she said. Not since the renovations. What renovations? She shook her head. Never mind. Then she walked away, faster than she needed to. That night, the scratching changed. It wasn't random anymore. It followed me. When I stood in the kitchen, it moved above the cabinets. When I sat on the couch, it shifted into the wall behind it. Always close, always just out of sight. I started sleeping with the lights on. I started wearing headphones. Neither helped. At 2:17 a.m., my phone lit up. A notification from the building app. Building notice. Please stop tapping on the walls. I stared at the screen. My hands were on my lap. I wasn't touching anything. I typed a reply. Me. I'm not tapping. I'm hearing scratching. The reply came instantly. Building notice. Unit 13 should not be experiencing noise complaints. The scratching stopped. The silence that followed was worse because now I knew the building was listening, and something else was too. After the notification, I didn't move for a long time. I sat on the edge of my bed with my phone in my hand, waiting for the scratching to come back. Waiting for something, anything, to prove that I hadn't imagined the message. The wall stayed silent. That silence felt deliberate, like whatever was inside was listening now. I checked the building app again, refreshed it, closed it, opened it. The notice was still there, time-stamped, real. I scrolled through older notices. Most were boring. Elevator maintenance, water shutdowns, package theft warnings. But as I scrolled further back, something started to feel off. There were gaps, entire weeks missing, then months. Then I saw it. A series of notices posted late at night, always between 2 and 3 a.m. Building notice. Please stop tapping on the walls. Building. Notice noise complaints from the 13th floor are under review. Building notice. Unit 13 residents are reminded that interior walls are not load-bearing. The dates went back years, long before I moved in. My phone vibrated in my hand. Another notification. Building notice. Thank you for your cooperation. I hadn't cooperated with anything. I locked my bedroom door that night. I know that sounds stupid. A locked door doesn't do much when the problem is literally in the walls. But it made me feel like I was doing something. I pushed my bed away from the wall, just a few inches at first, then more. Enough that I could stand between the bed and the crack without touching either. The crack had grown. It was longer now, branching upward like a vein. The paint around it had started to peel, curling outward. I put my finger near it, not inside it, just close. The scratching started immediately, harder this time, faster, right behind the crack. I pulled my hand back and felt something brush my knuckle. Not through the wall, along it, like something had pressed itself flat against the other side. I stumbled backward and hit the bed. The scratching stopped. Then my phone buzzed again. Not a notification, a vibration, like someone was typing. I hadn't opened any apps. The building app opened itself. A new message appeared. Building notice. Please don't touch the walls. My throat felt dry. I typed back with shaking hands. Me. What is in the walls? The response came slower this time. 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. Building notice. The walls are not empty. I didn't sleep. I sat on the couch until morning, watching the crack in the wall from across the room. Watching it the way you watch a sleeping animal, afraid it might wake up if you blink too long. At dawn, I heard footsteps in the hallway outside my door. Normal footsteps. Human ones. I opened the door and found the same older woman from before standing there, holding a clipboard. She looked more tired than yesterday. You heard it too, she said. I nodded. She glanced up and down the hallway, then leaned closer. They told us the renovations fixed it, she whispered. They said they sealed the spaces between floors. What spaces? I asked. She hesitated. The thin ones, she said. The ones you don't notice until something starts using them. Before I could ask anything else, another door opened down the hall. A man stepped out. Young, maybe mid-30s, dark circles under his eyes. You on 13? He asked me. I nodded again. He exhaled sharply. Me too. Been here 6 months. Does it? I started. Scratch? He finished. Yeah, mostly at night. Mostly when I'm on my phone. My stomach dropped. What do you mean? He held up his phone. I noticed it first when I was scrolling, like it reacted to the sound, the vibration, the light. He hesitated. Last week, I turned my phone off completely, airplane mode, no apps, no sound. And, I asked, he swallowed. It scratched anyway. That night, I tested it. I sat in the dark with my phone face down on the table. No sound, no vibration. The scratching started slowly. Then I turned the screen on. It got louder. I opened the building app. It stopped. Then a new notification appeared. Building notice. We can see you. The crack in the wall widened, just enough for something inside to breathe.